All right, good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, and we're going to do a quick video tonight. Um, we're having storms here, so I'm just going to try to knock this thing out pretty quick. Here at PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com, and that's one of our logos. Flipping over here, I'm going to forego the automated trading systems and go right into the markets. We had a pretty nasty day, actually 2 days in recent time here in the Dow. Well, in the overall markets, I think yesterday was a 400 down point day, and today was a 396 down point. So let's look at this. So yeah, pretty rough price action, and let's not lose sight of the fact that the trend is still up. This is just a pullback to the 30 period moving average. If we get a reversal on this, then it's just going to chop around in this zone. And even if we get pulled back a little bit, we've had that down here on these days like that, and then we got another rally. So as of like this most recent pivot higher, um, yeah, that's kind of a double top, and we came down, but we spent time above the previous pivot. And over here on the hourly chart, you can see we put in a lower high, but man, it was like just a double top. So it sure has reacted like a lower high though. So, but that is not to say that this trend is over, because trends don't give up without a fight. All right. So the Dow was down 396 points. It still closed at 39,170.24. And do you think 40,000 still in the cards? I don't know. I kind of do. Although this is starting to look like a rounding top. The S&P today, let's flip it to it. Similar noise, still green, still in an uptrend. Man, that is one heck of a move. I think I read over the weekend that we've only had 3 moves like this in the history of the markets. And I haven't gone back to look at them on a chart, but you can just see that this is a major move. The Russell today went down 37 points. Make sure that's right. 37.8. And it's also putting in a kind of a, I'll call it one of these potential pivots, but we'll call it a sell signal for right now, although our sell signal is really once it closes below a pivot. Although I'm going to start exploring something else, and I'll give you a preview of that, I think, here momentarily. I think it might be easier to trade, especially the way we do it, longer term, daily and hourly charts, and possibly even weekly charts. So that's the Russell. It was just kind of a tough day in the markets, although you can't let one day define how you are in the markets. It doesn't work that way. This is the NASDAQ, down 156 points. 0.9%. But again, none of that really matters if you've been in this move for very long. You've been up. So giving back a little bit is just normal. Although let's not lose sight of the fact that that's with a gap. That might signify the beginning of a downtrend. We had a gap here that went back up again, so I'm not going to get too excited about that. All right. The transportation index went down over 1%. But again, just chopping around, still bullish looking. And the oil today went quite a bit higher. I said these recent pivots back here, the previous highs was probably going to be our targets, the next targets, and that's where we're at. We've crossed this target. And TLT stopped out today, so bonds, one of these days this thing's going to pop and it's going to go nicely to the upside. Gold did pop some more. All right. Our McClellan oscillators are now both under 60, under minus 60, I should say. Not that they can't get a lot more deeper oversold. We did break out of this pattern up here too. Take a note of that. So that's the first time that upward sloping channel has been broken to the downside. Now we're at the top of the previous channel. So that's interesting. And then the VIX, that's not the VIX. Thought I had the VIX on here, but it's not showing up. So some of the price lately, it's been coming down really hard. That was yesterday. Gapped lower. Pretty much these are the advanced decline lines of the various indexes, and you can see they've come down hard and then sat down here. If I put up more days of this, you can see the exact opposite when things start to trend back up again. You can also see the ticks here in the middle. It's a measurement of basically the orders, and once they hit minus 1,000, which is what that big fat red line is, they started trending higher. Now, what's that do for you? It just gives you a gauge of what's going on in the markets if you want to look at something like that during the day. It's not necessary. So, I'm not going to add on that other indicator. I'm considering a different stop that's a little tighter, easier to manage, less complacent of a stop. But I've got to do some math on it, and we'll look into it together one of these days. It's the parabolic SAR. If you want to look into it, it comes available on most systems, and it might go along really well with our trending simple 30. All right, and let's go to the internet. And so this is, I was thinking this thing was going to take off one more, just needed a little bit to get a point and figure buy signal here. This is the big, I'll call it the big bullish percent index. That's the website, by the way. It's not ours. Totally want to give them props. They're good. True Market Insiders. Anyways, we gave back a little today, but still, this thing is still, in my opinion, poised to go higher. And then we have the little bullish percent indexes. So that other one tends to change position or stay in position for weeks to months, is the way I was taught. This one is more like days to weeks. Actually, all of these. That's what makes them a kind of better indicator for what's going on day to day. The other one's great for like just kind of knowing when everything comes together. The NYA went down 2.37%. Industrials didn't do anything today. The transportation index didn't do anything. The NASDAQ came down 2.15%. It's not very far from putting in a 3-box reversal. The S&P 500 came down 4.5%, 4.55. The SPX came down 4.55%. Is that the same thing I just did? It is. The OEX, sorry about that, came down 4.05%. And the NDX flipped into a column of O's and went down quite a bit. This might be where this blue line really comes into more effect faster, because it's interesting that it didn't come down close enough last time. Maybe we'll come hit it this time and then get our bounce. But 13%, that's a pretty big move, and we just got to keep an eye on it, keep our risk in check. It's part of the reason why I'm considering a different stop, because possibly better risk reward, and I just need to do the math, have the computer do the math for us. So until next time, batten down the hatches, and hopefully this weather stops. Take care, good trading, and have a great night.